is an insult. A man who's never had to make a split-second call whilst under fire is not qualified to pass judgment on a man who has. That's a fact. Defence Secretary Gavin Williamson is reportedly pushing for a 10-year limit on the prosecution for soldiers for alleged historical abuses. This would be a start, but I'd also like to see politicians who sanction us take some culpability, as well as assurances that soldiers will be left alone if they haven't strayed from the orders they were given. Finally, I believe that any investigation should be chaired by someone who has been there, seen it, and done it, not just a suit trying to appease the PC brigade.
Phil, I don't think this is an easy issue, is it? It's not as simple as I think as you're saying. When I was chairman of the FA, I was chairman of the Hillsborough Committee there as well, and I got to know the Hillsborough families quite well. And what they wanted was a prosecution, and which is what they've got, and that's why we can't talk anymore about it. And I suspect that the Bloody Sunday families are looking for the same thing. They're saying the last inquiry, there were 2 inquiries, one found against them, the second much longer inquiry found by and large for them. And I suspect they are looking for some prosecutions. Now, I don't want soldiers, ex-soldiers in their 70s to go to jail, because I wouldn't put anybody who's not a threat to society in jail anyway. I don't think there's any point. But I suspect they will be disappointed if there aren't some prosecutions.
Well, firstly, these soldiers were acting under orders, okay?
Yeah.
Secondly, this is a wider problem as well. And if we go and have a look at what my mate Bry was one of the first soldiers to fix bayonets since the World Wars, you know, involved in an incredible action. Probably, if you ask me, you know, he is an absolute model soldier, okay, and he was dragged through the coals by Shiner in the game. So let's just have a look at what Bry's got to say, and then we'll open it a bit further.
He was involved in a famous battle known as the Battle of Danny Boy, which has seen soldiers close and destroy a multiple enemy position, and then years later get accused of murder, mutilation, and mistreatment.
What would your message be to the powers that be now to rectify this problem of soldiers being sort of like hauled across the coals?
Look, we've got to adhere to rules of engagement and the human law. It's absolutely, and we do. But there's also got to be a statute of limitation. There's got to be a timeline, a cut-off. You can't just start hounding soldiers decades and decades after the event. I mean, if there's something there, it needs to be investigated there and then and nipped in the bud, because I went through it myself. And after 10 years of pure pain, and to be found wholly without foundation, a degree of product of deliberate lies.
Danny Boy was in Iraq and a really, really hard-fought battle. Where I'm coming in with this, you can't just keep these things open for years and years and years, and you need a credible person to turn around and say, yes, this happened, that didn't happen, that happened, and evidence it, and look at it with a perspective from somebody who understands what is going on in the arena.
And not just, just to reference Shiner's again, that's of course Phil Shiner, who took so many cases against.
That's the one, yeah, that's the one. I mean, he got
just a quick one from me, and you'll know far better than I. You describe it as a disgrace. I think it's a farce. Yeah. Because if a soldier is put into court and he said, well, why did you? Well, Colonel Jones gave me the order. Colonel Jones is now in the Great Parade Ground, or it was Captain Smith. None of these people who gave the orders, many of them will have died of natural causes or whatever. So you'll never be able to have a proper trial. How can you do that?
I think, a lot of people in this country will watch the witch hunt that has gone on against our soldiers, and I think it would sicken them to their stomachs. We ask men and women to put their lives on the line to defend this country, to do stuff that we couldn't or don't want to do. We can't ask them to do that if there are no protections in place for them. So if Gavin Williamson is going to bring forward this 10-year limit in the Queen's speech, that's fine, but he also has to bring through rules about the kind of evidence that you would prosecute someone with. You can't just come at 25 years later and say he killed him. There's got to be rules about the kind of evidence you're using. Yes, of course I agree. If soldiers, if there is evidence of criminal behaviour, yes, they should be prosecuted.
Absolutely.
But I think, let me just say the one thing: the historical investigation team, 1,500 cases, and Northmore, which was investigating cases in Afghanistan, 500 cases. Do we really think there were 2,000 and a bit soldiers abusing, like your mate said, murdering, mutilating, and mistreating people? I don't believe it.
That's the reason we have a process and we have rule of law, Carol. And there there are already safeguards around decisions to prosecute. You already have to show that there is evidence and that it's in the public interest to prosecute someone. So soldiers who don't, when cases don't meet that test, they won't
a
be
lot of the people who
prosecuted.
had evidence in Bloody Sunday are now dead. And can people really remember stuff 20,
But can we talk
30,
about the
40
victims
years
as well? The
later?
victims of Bloody Sunday and other events like that didn't want to have to wait until now to see justice either. It's not, nobody wanted it to take this long. And the idea that victims shouldn't get to see justice because it's taken so long, so many inquiries.
What about the
unfair.
victims of Birmingham Square? We actively, no one's gone after them, have they? In fact, they actually handed them all out letters to say you're safe now, lads.
And
You're
what about-
okay.
what about
That's a
the
disgrace. That's a disgrace.
It is a
We
disgrace,
don't
yeah.
fight
It is a
injustice
disgrace.
with more injustice. Theresa May agrees with you, so let me just show you what she says about this.
We have an unfair situation at the moment. The situation we have at the moment is that the only people being investigated for things that happened in the part of these issues that happened in the past are those in our armed forces or those who served in law enforcement in Northern Ireland. That is patently unfair. Terrorists are not being investigated. Terrorists should be investigated, and that is what the government wants to see.
In the interest of balance, I just want to read you what Sinn Féin says, which is radically different. These remarks are deeply insensitive to the loss and pain of hundreds of families who have been bereaved by the British state forces. They have caused deep hurt and offence and could even undermine confidence in the rule of law and the administration of justice. They're also demonstrably untrue, as has been evidenced by official statistics and statements on legacy investigations. You know, I think, Phil, there are two issues. You're talking about the person who's involved in this, overseeing inquiries or prosecutions, should understand the reality of the battlefield. I agree with that. But the idea that we shouldn't hold people to account, and that it's in the interests of our armed forces to know that we have a military that is respected around the world because it enforces high standards of the rules of engagement and respecting human rights. And you do that by accountability.
By repeatedly chasing people down and how these
No
guys are in
wonder
their
people aren't
70s.
joining.
This is a private soldier that on the day of the race, it was all going noisy. He was acting under the orders. He was doing an extremely dangerous job. He was probably looking after himself, his buddy, and trying to do a decent job, okay, in an absolute melee. And then 70 years later, he's getting pulled through the coals. That's insane. That's ridiculous.
No soldier who's following a lawful order, Afua, should ever be prosecuted. It's not their job to sit there and work out whether that order is lawful or right. It's their job to do what they're told at the time.
That's what the court would decide.
But
That's
it's not
the discussion.
it's not the-
Now,
not the soldier's fault.
you're saying we should have 10-year moratorium, basically. Don't go back more than 10 years. Does that apply to all court cases? Do you apply that to the whole
I
of the
don't even
criminal
think it should be
justice
10
system?
years, actually, to be honest. I just think that's really unfair. You know, it is, soldiers need to know that they have the government and they have the military on their side.
And that is such a... So
they
if
don't
a soldier
have it.
doesn't think that he's going to get the backing of the government for carrying out the actions that he's been told to, how can he carry those actions out with confidence?
These
You're
are
going to
really
actually
complex- these are
undermine
really
the army by not backing him up.
These
You're
are
going to
really
undermine those
complex
soldiers.
cases. They've taken years to investigate, and you're portraying them as really black and white.
No, because Brian's case was done overnight.
The reason it's even
almost.
got to the stage of being the subject of a prosecution now is because there is enough grounds to believe that they weren't just following lawful orders and acting in accordance.
No,
And I can't decide that. That's
Brian's wife
why.
got a letter.
That's why
Brian's
we're talking.
wife got a letter through
Yeah,
the
but you
post.
can't put it all down to one individual. And
No,
claim
he's
it's-
not.
it's all
But-
that.
No, but I'm not. But there's more. There's
I'm
more
not.
than one individual
15
involved in.
1,500 cases with the Iraqi strike.
Okay,
with lawyers chasing
All right,
those people.
but there were 3,668 claims have been made against British troops. Allegations, right? There have been no prosecutions. There have been no prosecutions
put
in
them through
Iraq.
it?
So because we have a system of law.
Would you stop people making allegations then as well, Carol?
Well, no, but I just think when you have lawyers whose whole raison d'etre is to make a profit, and when you have those lawyers getting people in places like Iraq and Afghanistan, going to look for people
So what
who
would-
may or may
every
not
lawyer.
What would you
Not every
say?
lawyer.
No, but Phil Shiner's lost.
Do
for
you
sure.
accept that it's possible that there have been abuses by British armed forces, and there are genuine victims that exist? And if you accept that that's possible, what do you recommend for those people to get justice?
The army has its own rank system in place as well to safeguard against that. It also is controlled from the very top. So
We know it
what I'm
happens.
saying is the only person getting hauled through the coals is Private Bacon Neck,
Yes.
who was there and there on the
Exactly
sharp end of the day.
Yes.
It's not Colonel Bogey at the top, all right, and it's not the politician that sent him.
And it's
It's
interesting you
Private
say
Bacon Neck.
politicians. It's interesting you say politicians because it's worth noting, of course, that Northern Ireland Secretary Karen Bradley was in trouble over that. Earlier in the week, she said that she thought the deaths caused were, quotes, not crimes. We need to now say she has apologised. I'm profoundly sorry for the offence and hurt that my words have caused. Her language was wrong, even though it was not my intention. It was deeply insensitive to the many of those who lost loved ones, and they wonder why the army has a recruiting crisis.
30th, 1972, a civil rights march through the centre of Londonderry culminated in one of the darkest episodes of the Troubles in Northern Ireland. The events of Bloody Sunday would come to define the conflict for many and leave a lasting legacy of bitterness and injustice. So what happened on the day? By 3 p.m. on Sunday afternoon, as many as 15,000 people gathered in the Cregan area in protest against the government policy of internment, which allowed the authorities to imprison suspected IRA members without trial. Organised by the Northern Ireland Civil Rights Association, it was technically illegal, as all large gatherings had been prohibited by the Stormont administration. Ignoring the ban, the predominantly Roman Catholic crowd set off towards the Guildhall in the city centre. But their intended route along William Street was blocked off by British troops called in to police the event. The main march was redirected along Rossville Street towards the Free Derry Monument, but some stayed to confront the soldiers manning the blockade. As the standoff intensified, a water cannon was brought up to disperse the rioters. Bricks and bottles were soon answered with rubber bullets and CS gas. At 4:07, soldiers from the 1st Battalion Parachute Regiment advanced to make arrests. Moments later, as the protesters fled back towards the bogside, shots rang out across the city. The army claims that they were fired on first by paramilitaries in the Rossville Flats, but this has long been contested by eyewitnesses. 21 British soldiers fired their weapons, discharging 108 live rounds between them. After less than 30 minutes of shooting, 13 marchers were dead and 14 badly wounded. One of those injured would die several months later. As retaliations began with the burning of the British Embassy in Dublin, the then Prime Minister Ted Heath ordered a public inquiry. The soldiers were largely exonerated by the widely criticised Widgery Tribunal, although the report admitted that their behaviour bordered on the reckless and that the victims were unarmed. Years of campaigning by nationalists and the victims' families followed, and a second inquiry was commissioned by Tony Blair in 1998. 12 years and £200 million later, the Savile reports concluded that none of the casualties were posing a threat or doing anything that would justify their shooting. It led to a public apology by Prime Minister David Cameron in 2010.
Indeed, on behalf of our country, I am deeply sorry. I'll get that little piece of dandruff off.
So, hi, yeah, good morning. So what you've just seen is a conversation about, one was about soldiers in general being arrested and questioned, and the young lad, well, yeah, the young lad over the Danny Boy battle, yeah, Operation Danny Boy, the battle was extremely violent. British troops came under heavy fire from Iraqis in Iraq, and lo and behold, years later, the young lad, when he'd left the army, was arrested and became a victim of the the money train that were lawyers and barristers, lawyers going out to Iraq to find people who would claim abuse by a British soldier. Today, in 2022, I'm glad to announce that that gravy train has stopped. No longer can that happen, because I think it was a few, when was it now? I can't remember the exact year, but obviously it was after 2019. So it could have been actually 2020 when they said that the Iraq thing was stopping, and the soldiers being prosecuted 50 years after an event in Northern Ireland was stopping. Yeah. None of the soldiers are going to be prosecuted. So I thought what I'd do was have a delve in to the report that our man, the great Tony Blair, what a pig, decided to have. Now, you got to remember that when he initiated the Savile report, he'd already handed out and agreed with Sinn Féin and the IRA that he'd free all of the IRA prisoners, and they were all given letters. The bombers of the Birmingham pubs were all given letters of freedom. If they were stopped, all they had to do was show the letter to say that they'd been given a pardon or whatever, right? So this is what you must keep in mind. So the people that planted the bombs in Birmingham, the people that blew a bus up on the M62, the people that murdered Lord Mountbatten and murdered 18 soldiers at Warren Point, the people that blew up a cenotaph at Enniskillen, the Omagh bombing, yeah, all the victims of that. Oh yeah, and then there's the Birmingham 21. No court cases for them. No justice for them. No inquiries. No one cares. Now, this is a precursor to how terrorists are going to get treated in the future, right? And I worry for the future of our armed services, because you've got the soldiers of today have got to look back in history and see what happened, what has happened to the soldiers of the past. So Tony Blair decided that you know, yeah, he'd get the Savile inquiry going to see why this happened, to see why, and look into why the soldiers fired, or who fired first, or who got shot, who didn't get shot, blah blah blah. And so yeah, let's start, shall we? On the afternoon of the 30th of January 1972, a civil rights march set off from the Cregan area of the city of Derry in Northern Ireland. The crowd of around 10,000 aimed to finish up with speeches at the Guildhall Square in the heart of the city. They never got there. Fearful of clashes, yeah, the security forces prevented the march from heading. Why does this always happen? From heading into the centre, and rerouted it into the Bogside area. Some marchers began to riot against the army at the barricades that had been erected. Stones were thrown, tear gas and rubber bullets fired in response. Then everything changed. Shots were fired. The 1st Battalion of the Parachute Regiment went over to the barricades to scoop up the rioters, but actually headed deep into the bogside. In a space of a few minutes, 21 of the soldiers fired a total of 108 rounds into an area filled with fleeing marchers and civilians. So if you could just imagine if you could just imagine 10,000 people marching, and you saw in that little clip that I showed of what it was like back then, yeah. So we had all these people marching, and then we have soldiers. It was back in 1972. So the soldiers actually went into Northern Ireland in 1969. So they weren't very well, they weren't used to urban warfare, let's put it that way, right? But 38 years later, of course, they become well trained, in fact, the best in the world. Many countries now look at our troops for urban warfare to gain experience, actually, because of the experience they had in Northern Ireland. So if you could imagine what that must have been like for young 19-year-old soldiers standing there with these guns, right? So do you think they felt under threat at all? Now, some of you will say, well, they were trained, they shouldn't know. Again, you haven't been there, you haven't felt it. So all I'm asking is, do you think that the soldiers would have felt under threat and maybe a bit edgy, you know, judging from that video? If you want to, just rewind, have a quick look at that 3-minute video of the bloody Sunday shootings, and just ask yourself, do those soldiers look prepared? Do they look like they actually know what they're doing? Do they actually, do you think they could have been edgy, wondering who was around them? 15,000 people marching through the streets. Bit odd. Anyway, let's get on with this. By the time the firing stopped, 13 civilians lay dead on the streets. 15 more were wounded. One died a few months later. It was the worst massacre of British citizens by British troops since Portaloo in 1819, and a landmark low point of the Northern Ireland conflict. One of a few seminal moments that escalated a bloody and long-term conflict into a long, drawn-out and sadistic civil war. The conflict, which became known as the Troubles indeed, staggered on for another 3 decades, claiming 3,500 lives and injuring thousands upon thousands, yeah, on all sides. Its embers are not out yet. What happened that day was a source of terrible dispute from the moment it occurred. Army commanders claimed that on entering the bogside, British troops had come under heavy fire from civilian nail bombers and gunmen and had shot at them. Community leaders and civilians denied any such things. Innocent civilians had been gunned down in cold blood. They said, in an effort to settle the matter, the British government set up the inquiry into the events under the chairmanship of the then Lord Chief Justice, Lord Widgery. What a name. It broadly found in favour of the Army's version of events. This verdict ground dirt into the already existing wounds of Bloody Sunday. The idea that a British state, including the judicial system, had collapsed within the army in murdering Catholics became entrenched, vindicating and making alluring for some the claims of the Irish Republic Army. Now, I think it's a bit disgraceful that the first inquiry by Lord Widgery found totally in favour of the army's story. How they could have done that is beyond me, but 1972, who knows? Who knows how they came to that? But obviously, people, you know, the victims' relatives, they weren't happy, and for 30 odd years, they carried on insisting that they wanted justice. Yeah, justice. So many years after these events, a new Prime Minister stood up to address the House of Commons, full of hope and with a colossal public goodwill behind him. In 1998, Tony Blair announced that British government was going to set up another inquiry into what happened that day. It was to be chaired by another British peer, Mark Saville. By the time Lord Saville started work, many of those involved were dead. Many others were to be summoned out of retirement and to attempt to recall and account for events in their youth. At the last, the truth would be discovered. At last, the truth would be discovered, and there would be a very different result. Yes. So men who now retired were expected to remember what they'd done in their youth as the average Tommy, you know, the average soldier. Okay. What ensued was a monumental task. The inquiry was not only the lengthiest and most detailed, but also the costliest in legal history, and became a huge matter of controversy itself. Saville and two Commonwealth judges who sat with him were expected to report within a couple of years at a cost of a few £1 million. In fact, the report took another 12 years. By the time Saville did the report back, it was not to the Prime Minister who had set him off on the task, but to that Prime Minister and his successor had left office, and it fell onto a new Conservative Prime Minister to announce the inquiry findings. Meanwhile, the costs rose to 200 million. 200 million. The Saville inquiry became the object of ridicule and disdain from the media, depicted as a gravy train for lawyers. As a result of the vast cost and even vaster quantities of time and documentation involved, much of the wealth of the new information that Savile turned up was lost. Lost to recriminations over the cost, lost to recriminations over the time, and lost on a media with few expectations, gave up on the proceedings as they dragged interminably on. So, obviously, Savile, Lord Savile, dragged on this so-called inquiry. I remember when David Cameron stood up in the House of Commons and gave his little speech out. Yeah, I thought maybe that after the speech for Bloody Sunday, he may indeed announce that there was going to be an inquiry into Bloody Friday, yeah, or an inquiry into the deaths of the people in the Birmingham bombings. I didn't think that was too much to ask, but obviously it is. So, in 2002, the inquiry transferred from Derry to London to hear from military, political and intelligent witnesses before returning to Derry to hear from the IRA. I mean, you know, forgive me, please. But what I just read there, I can't, it's like beyond me. You know, so we've got a British inquiry that wants to hear from the IRA, a terrorist group, basically. So remember that, people. And for you with young men or women, that young boys or girls that are growing up, if they show an interest in the armed forces, take note. Yeah. Interest had waned. Firstly, because it had been so long-winded, and the IRA, who were there that day and who had fired first, but the interest had still waned because people were becoming very tired of sitting and listening to Savile argue with witnesses. If anybody was going to have the key to the mysteries of what happened that day, it would be these men, i.e. the political and intelligence witnesses, and, you know, the army men. So, yeah. But there was another reason. The hatred and distrust that led to that day was embedded by that day remained strong. Many British people think that they have heard quite enough about Bloody Sunday. They believe that Irish Republicans and their sympathisers have had quite enough attention. As a result, Bloody Sunday has been a tragedy that few non-Republicans have looked into. That should be addressed. Bloody Sunday was not only a Derry tragedy, it was a British tragedy, and one with serious repercussions for the way in which the army, the judiciary, and the state should operate. Because the day had become Republican holy ground, it had also been manipulated. As the inquiry progressed, it became clear that the British Army were not the only army to open fire in the Bogside on that day. The IRA and their sympathisers did not want these facts to come out. Indeed, everything they could do to stop them. But as this book shows, the real story of Bloody Sunday turns out to be not only more straightforward than the British Army would like to admit, but more complex than the IRA have ever said. Interesting, don't you think? Very interesting. The process also deserves attention because for 12 years, the most extraordinary, unparalleled effort was made to get the truth. What came out of that was more than just an effort at reaching the truth of what happened on that terrible day. It was revealed much about how any truth can be uncovered after such a long time. Some people remember what they forget, and what happens when things turn up from the past that might have been easier left undiscovered for Northern Ireland. Like many other places of conflict around the world, the past is always before us, threatening to reopen at any stage. What turned up before Savile was often as much about the present and future as it was about the past. An effort at truth and reconciliation. The wokesome ghosts, just as others were being laid to rest. So I thought I'd read a little bit of that and try and get people interested, because I tend to read the whole thing every night for, where are we now? 45 minutes. I intend to really read the whole thing and point out what people should take note of. And also give I would like the opinions of others too. So, of course, if you feel you would like to be part of it, please leave a message underneath the video, and then I'll know how much interest there is. But again, I've done it on private because I don't know how much interest there is. I guess I'm just going to have to face it at one point. Go live, yeah, and it'll probably be tomorrow. Go live and just do it live and see what occurs, yeah. But it's not a funny subject. It's a very serious subject, and it's a subject that maybe most of you won't be interested in, because most of you are probably too young to even remember it. Yeah, you're probably you know, some of you are probably too young to remember it, but it wouldn't harm you to learn about it neither, if that's the case. And to hear the conclusions. And a very good part is the evidence that Mr. McGuinness gives. His answers are very interesting. A steak knife, very interesting. All these people we've heard of, they all turned, you know, they were all involved in the Savile inquiry. Amazing, isn't it? Amazing. But yes, so if you could leave your comments underneath this video to let me know if you're interested or not, I'd be very grateful. And of course, live again, 45 minutes tomorrow night. Well, not live again, because I haven't been brave enough to do this live. But yeah. So what time is it? Oh, right. It's earlier than I thought, actually. So, okay, so I shall see you tomorrow. Okay? Bye. Oh, there are people here. So, this is what I intend to do. Now, anyone who... it's nice to see you all here, actually. Anyone who would be interested in listening to the rest of it and want to get your points across, you're very welcome to come on the panel. It's going to be a very non-biased point of view from me. But believe me, you're going to be shocked by some of the revelations that come out. Yeah. And from not by some of the people you think. A bleeding heart, what are you doing here? This is not a place for you. So I'm sorry, guys, right, but I don't want to hear. So she's gone. She's blocked. I'm not having this interrupted by the likes of a bleeding heart. So, hello, Dupes. I didn't expect anyone to be still around at this time. I'll drop the link for 5 minutes, Jupiter, or whoever. If you've got an opinion on this and would like to take part in the hang on, take part in the reading and your view on what comes out of it and the evidence that there is, and whether you agree with the evidence, and it's quite interesting. If you like playing judge and jury, yeah. So, yeah. Hi, Jupiter.
Oh, Wendy, I think this is brilliant. You really do need to start doing it live.
Yeah.
I haven't got a clue about Ireland, and if you go through it like this, maybe I can start to understand it. You know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking. That a lot of people don't understand it, and would probably like to understand it. Do you know what I mean? So that's what I intend to do.
Yeah,
on a nightly basis, sort of thing.
Taught about Bloody Sunday at school, and I just remember coming out feeling sorry for both sides. You know.
Yes. Yeah. But it's more. It runs deeper than that, Jupiter, as everyone will find out. It runs far deeper than that. You see, when the Savile report was done, I mean, come on, who's going to sit down and read a Savile report? You know, do you know what I mean, Jupes?
Yeah, at the time, people get on with their lives, and
exactly,
and they don't, and unless you've got some personal connection, you know, most people do slowly move on. Sad fact of life, and it's not even because it's not because they mean it in a bad way. Yeah, people just move on, don't they? So
yeah. But,
and then the people like you, well, not you, but people that have had people that are served in Ireland and stuff, you know. Well, you did serve in Ireland, though, I think, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
But not in 1972. But I always that day is a very important day, And as we go through it, kind of thing, Dupes, you'll find out why, and you'll also form an opinion of yourself about that day. Also, see what I mean? That's what will happen as we go through it.
Yeah, that's why I think it's brilliant that you're doing this. Yeah, I think we need more content like this. Do you know what I mean?
Because like
when I say we, I mean audience as well as you know.
Yeah, of course, because the thing tried to get in on it straight away, and she was blocked because I don't want it took over by idiots like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think you and Cam having a discussion would be brilliant.
Oh, Cam, yeah, Cam's not a problem because she's got an open mind, and and because I'm not coming at it from a biased view, you know. Oh, yeah, it must be, you know, the soldier must be right. I'm not doing that. I couldn't. You can't do that. If you're going to do that, just keep your mouth shut. That's the way I look at it.
I think that you and Cam would definitely be the right people, because it's going to be sort of like two different sides who have both suffered. And I think, you know, watching two people that will come to a conclusion at the end as well, which I believe it will be positive. I think it's going to be brilliant. You know.
Yeah, because I've all day I've been thinking, oh, I want it. You know, when you really want to do something and see if it works, right? And I thought, oh, to hell, I'm going to just do it. I'm just going to do it and see if it works or not.
Yeah. Yeah, no.
Because I know a lot of people like the argy-bargy, the drama, and I can't be. I don't want it anymore, Dupes.
Yeah. No, I think you're onto something here. I think it's educational, it's interesting, and it's going to keep people engaged. And those that don't want to be engaged, then that they can go off elsewhere. You know. I can.
Oh, yeah.
All right, Dukes, Wendy.
Hi,
Thanks for letting me
love.
on. Sorry, Wendy, I just jumped on real quickly. I think it'd be a good one, Wendy, myself and yourself, if we were to talk about it, because you know more, obviously, yourself. You were meant to have a talk with PD about it, but again, this is a very touchy subject, and I think if you come at it like, you know, like obviously with your biasness, yeah, we're going to struggle. And I don't mean you, I mean even myself. It's because I am Irish, and yeah, and I'm going to be looking at it from an Irish perspective. But like, I mean, 20 years ago, of course, I did a hate in England because of what I'd done to my country. But 20 years later,
20 years ago, 20 years ago, I thought about it all in a very different way.
That's what I mean. Like, so you have to, you know, you have to, because the thing is, a country of their history it's intertwined. It's never ever going to be separated. It can't be separated. That's just the way it is. So I mean, yeah, but not a lot of people I notice know a lot of what happened between Ireland and England. You know, they just, and it's like, huh? How do you not know that? Like, seriously.
Yeah,
because you
I know.
Like, you should know that. I don't understand it. So, and I come from a different perspective too, because I come from down the south, not up the north.
Yes.
So that again is going to be another like perspective altogether, because they lived through it. So yeah, like I won't be coming at it like from an angle of like, oh, you English bastard and shit like that. No, you have to come into it as not neutral, but I am Irish. Yeah, like I will represent my side, but it's not going to be like, yeah, Dick for Dick, you've done this, just come back. This is what no, but again, like, I mean, yeah, we did do terrible things back, you know what I mean? Like, yes, we did, and we both did. We're a small island. It's smaller than yours, you know. So again, we had to fight back. After 900 years. We had to fight back, right? But Bloody Sunday, that's one that like that was just a big shit show. That I think both sides, you know what I mean, like
Yes.
both,
Yes.
you know what I mean, and whatever came before or after, it's like, all right, that one right there needs to be. And again, I mean, a lot of people were killed. A lot of people were killed in it. So it's like it needs to become, and like people need to know, especially British people, because you know, like as I do talk to people, like, you don't really know a lot about it. You don't really
No,
know a
they
lot about it.
don't. No. Well,
You know,
Jupiter just
so
said, yeah, she doesn't know a lot about it.
yeah, so I only find that if you've either had, like as Duke said, like military family, or like, you know, if you have family that are in Belfast or
Exactly.
Ireland itself, then you have a little bit more of a clue what's going on. But no, like I mean, Dave, as I said, when I come to London, I would be told, get off the bus, Nick. Oh, is that your bag? Especially when you know, like the height of like all the
Oh
atom bombs
God.
and all that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as soon as they heard like that we are Irish, like in Piccadilly, right, get off the bus and hey, take the fucking bag with you at 7. I'm like, I'm not a fucking terrorist, but to be branded a terrorist. But then I have me own. When I say me fucking own, now you see the likes of this yoke bleeding tramp. This thing would rather fight our own than
Oh
to
yeah.
sort anything out, right? And then
Yeah.
turn around and then blame you too. So like, go fuck
Yeah.
off,
Exactly.
tramp.
Yeah.
Go fuck off. Like, and Rodney is like not in that, you know, the Good Friday Agreement either, bleeding tramp, just because you told him, fuck off, you dumb fuck. You know, so again, like, and you see, look, as I do say to people, right, that say, like, you know, like, listen, when we kind of come to that, I'd say, listen, take all the Irish home. I'd have no problem with that. Send every Irish person home. Send all yous come home right fucking now. And that includes my family. Come home right fucking now. Not a bother. Not a bother. Right now, people say, oh, no. No,
But
I
the
wouldn't,
Irish,
actually.
no, the Irish are welcome here. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want arms to
things
leave.
have changed. Things have changed since the bad old days, if you like.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, Wendy, when you come, especially even to Dublin, like there's a lot of English people, right? Like, I mean, when Brexit was happening, where do you think mostly our lefties from London legged it to? They legged it to Ireland because we became the big hippy dippy fucking, you know, LGBTQTP, whatever the fuck the letters are going to be adding on to us soon. That's what we came.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, great. So, like, again, you know, like, yeah, the people that like bleeding tramp bag support Sinn Féin, they're not the people. They're not the people even of the, like, I mean, they're just not the same cunts. These cunts had posters saying, everybody welcome, but the English out. You know what I mean? Like, so again, there is still, and like, I mean, I'm like, geez, man, I get it, but like, I mean, that up the north, that's the difference. That's their pain that they have to, because yeah, with Brexit and all that shit, man. Yeah, that's just a fuck. That I don't know what's going to happen with there, because unfortunately, I do see United Ireland. Like, I mean, when I say unfortunately, I mean,
I know
again,
why you say that. Yeah.
You know, so like, yes, and again, look, yes, Chucky Ireland, and that means our day will come, and yes, again, it will, but like at a price. Everything comes at a motherfucking price, and yeah. So again, it's like, again, my country's been through enough wars as it is, and that was just one country, so I don't really want that to go back to it. It's been nice and peaceful that I don't have to go through a border checkpoint with big fucking guns and shit, like, and where are you going? What are you going to do? And who are you going to see?
Yeah.
And yeah, like, what are you from in Dublin? And what are you doing up here? Get me, I'm only fucking up here to literally go shopping.
I'm going shopping. Do you want to come with me?
You know, and it's like, right, okay, be back at this time. So again, I don't want to have to go back to that, and it's kind of getting scary that, like, yeah, the EU is using us as a whipping boy to threaten you and say, yeah, like, the Good Friday Agreement is going to be up in the air and all that now. So the Commonwealth area, like, we have common movement between Ireland and England. We don't need a visa, and that was signed into a law where we didn't consider the EU. We just said, fuck off. No, we can't adopt that between Ireland and England. There's too many Irish in England, and likewise in Ireland. So we have to keep that open. So thank God that was kept open. But yeah, they're trying to squeeze it off, and that's a punishment to you
No,
for
they
Brexit.
shouldn't take
You
that
know,
away. I think that would be a terrible tragedy.
you know. Well, yeah, like I mean, Boris was going to build a fucking wall up to sea, wasn't he? You know.
Anyway,
so, yeah.
I want to point, just let you read, you know, the comment I put up on the screen. This is why people need to know what happened. Joe Smith said, right, obviously, I don't know who Joe Smith is. Now, British soldiers apparently shot dead a clergyman, right? So you know who I'm talking about here, Cam.
Yeah.
Waving a white hanky while trying to get help for an injured protester. No, they didn't shoot dead that man. They did not shoot dead the priest. He went on to live a long life.
He wasn't. He wasn't killed. He wasn't killed. If you watch,
No.
he was holding the white fucking hanky. He was leading out somebody that had been shot and did later
That's right.
die.
Yeah.
They were a Catholic. Yes.
In fact, that's a very
in
yeah.
in the middle of the fucking road while they were firing bullets on those that left and right. Yeah, he took the hanky and he went. Why? Because he was in the middle of the fucking road dying.
Yeah, but
so no, it wasn't the priest. It wasn't the priest. No.
Yeah, but
that's
see
wrong.
what I mean? British soldiers shot dead a clergyman. No, they didn't. This is what I mean.
One of you or both of you explain what actually did happen, because I don't know this story at all.
And it starts off like with tensions again. So like a Catholic was shot, and it caused murder. So a riot ensued, and the army came in, and and from there that escalated. And again, as I said, you know what I mean? Like they had bottles and look, when I say we, because I'm Irish, so I'm going to say we had bottles and stones and shit like that, right? Until the Garda came in. So of course, you know what I mean? Like, so when people get shot, whether they're throwing bottles or not, I mean, a bottle doesn't outweigh a gun, right? In my book, anyway, right? Should they do it? No. But anyway, they're kids. They you know, they're 19, 18, 17. So yeah, when you open fire, even if you're warning them, right, and one mistakenly hits them, whatever, you still done it. You still done it. So it opened up from there. So it was just days of it and burning, like literally fucking things on fire. Man. So, but look, at that bit was a pivotal moment there when a priest comes out into the middle of the road.
Very famous picture, photograph, that is. Yeah. Worldwide.
It is. Everybody knows that. I mean, Jesus, I wasn't around for that. I wasn't born for it. I know that. You know, I remember that. I know that.
Sector's going, how can you not know? I'm going, I didn't know.
Duke, man. But you see, there you go, Duke. There you go. Look, you see, the thing is that if it has never affected you, or if you have never experienced any of that, like in your family or anything like that, well, then it's not that you don't take notice of it. It's just like you hear about it like shit that you read in the paper. You know, oh, that's terrible. That fucking really is horrible. But then you just kind of move on.
Then you move on. You move on.
You know.
Yeah.
But like if you live it, or if you're in that country, or like if you like when you're saving our family day, then unfortunately it doesn't go away. You don't move on that quick. You know.
No.
So, but no, I get that. You know what I mean? I get that. So. But no, you know, look, facts over feelings. You know, it'll have to be facts over feelings.
Yes.
Facts
and
does not care about feelings. Unfortunately,
I do think you'll find the evidence of Mr. McGuinness very interesting, Cam.
You see that? You see that as well, Wendy. Like when I do say it, like this is where like Leighton Trampbag will say, "Oh, you're anti-Irish. Oh, you know, I'm anti-Irish, I'm anti-British, I'm anti-English, right?" And then she throws out like that, like I'm a far rightist, whitest extremist Irish recruiting ethnic native minorities, which is such an oxy-fucking-moron in itself. It's like ethnic native minorities. Okay, right. Now I'm with Jim Dawson. I'm in bed with Jim Dawson. Now I was in bed with Paddy till I got my slippers and got up and jumped on Wendy's panel. I wasn't used to Wendy going out this late.
What though, Cam?
Okay, is that okay?
I believe it.
I'm getting old, Dukes. I'm getting old, you know. I need my fucking slippers to walk out. So yeah, but I'll walk out in my slippers, you know, because she's so obsessed with my husband, you know, so obsessed with him. Her and Batty Fish are so obsessed. But yeah, she's another clown that hasn't a clue about our history. She really
Well,
hasn't a clue about our
the
history.
dream
So,
team was sat in the back here for like 30 minutes, so I wasn't letting them on. It's not
do you know
something
what,
to
actually,
be.
Wendy? Do you know what? He knows more than her. That's the fucking weird and stupid. It's like, oh my days, Les Champions Dick knows more than her. And I'm a part of. No, you're fucking not. No, you're fucking not.
No,
With that
no.
horrible little shit skin accent of yours. No, you are not. Anyway, you didn't know McGuinness was MI5. You didn't know he was a double agent, you tick shit. Fuck off. No, so again, I'm the traitor. So right now, because I'm talking to you, Wendy, and you're in English, and Duke is British, I'm the traitor. Because, yeah, I'm talking to you. Go suck a bag of dicks, you sad baronet fuck, man. So again, like, she sits here stalking, right? But like, I don't listen to you. No, I don't listen to you. We don't listen to you, sad sack. Because you have no lives. You have no lives. So yeah, and like, when did that house, like, that from the famine? That was from the famine, right? Like, so.
Oh yeah,
like,
your little video. That was
yeah,
I
you know what
love
I mean?
places like that. Yes.
So yeah, that's up like a couple of hectares up. And I'm like, geez, I don't know how they actually would have came down, like, from here all the way down there. But yeah, like, again, because apparently I don't have much of a life. I don't have anything, according to her, stalker ours, like, that she stalked
I
me
was
day and night.
I was trying to take notice of the building, right, of the ruin, yeah. I kept giggling because you go, oh, I've just studied some fucking cow shit or something. I was like, oh God.
I'm not messing, Wendy. Nothing but, and that's what Shell said. Oh, Kaylee, you're bleeding up there. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's nothing but dingers and nettles all over the fucking gaff, man.
Yeah.
Literally all over the place. And I was in shorts. And yeah, like, you know, Brian, you don't ever wear white socks. Wear the fucking, you know, wear the ankle-lit socks that you can't see, man. You know, and I had them on, and I got dung all over the place. So yeah, but I think it would be a good conversation because there's a lot of Irish that think they know, right? They think they know.
They
and it's
think
like,
they know, yeah.
And you're like, you're talking shit on the IRA. I'm talking shit on Sinn Féin and the IRA because they are shit. You haven't a clue what you're talking about. You haven't a clue what the fuck you're talking about. If you delve into your own history a little bit more, instead of saying up the fucking rat,
yes,
you might mean a thing or two. I said, but no, you're too busy. You're too busy because I noticed that everybody, like, oh, I'm Irish. Oh, no, you're fucking not. No, you're fucking not. Fuck off.
It
no, you're
seems to
fucking
be
not.
the in thing to be Irish.
It is.
Yes,
it
on
is.
here.
It is, Wendy, right? That's the new thing. Like, I'm Irish. No, you are fucking not. You are fucking not Irish, okay? So again, and hasn't a clue. They haven't a clue about the country they're in. Never mind the country that they apparently come from. So it's like, I don't talk to idiots. Actually, I do, because sometimes I have to delve down, and that's what I do with you, Ted. I act like an idiot, so your dumbass can understand me, you know? But yeah, she would be listening. She would be listening. But please strike her ass, Wendy, because I don't give
She's
this
blocked.
bitch
She's blocked. She's not coming
but
on.
But she will play it on her channel. She'll play it on her channel.
She plays it on her channel. I'll strike her straight away. This is not
there you
something
go, because it's like, I give her nothing, because she will sit there and she'll say, do you hear, Cayman, far right, white is Cayman. Okay, so I'm a far right white militant lesbian, right? Church militant
what
lesbian.
The white is, though, that's funny.
No, she always says that, yeah.
Thank you. It's like, I am white, so yes. What the fuck is the whitest, brightest? I haven't a clue. I'm guessing that, like, I'm really white and I'm really right.
Yeah.
I don't. And listen, this woman gets up at 3 o'clock in the day and says, good morning. Who does that shit? Gets up, hi guys, I just got up, good morning.
Yeah, 3 o'clock in the morning, yeah.
3 o'clock in the day, it's like,
in the day. Oh God, yeah, she does, doesn't she?
like, it's the afternoon, you fucking dad sack. You realise that, right? But like, whatever, like all the little shadows that like follow her and no, bleed. Yeah, bleed me drunk. Right, wherever. I don't care about her, but yeah, she would add no value to the conversation. If I thought she did, you know, I would
Look,
try.
she
And I
doesn't
mean, I
even
would
think
try.
there's a Michael Collins Day. Yeah, so
I know. Listen, there you go. She knows nothing, Wendy. She's a
no.
wannabe like of Antifa, right? She called herself after like, you know, Izzy, who is a real Antifa, right? Who is like head of Antifa, or head office down at Temple
Okay.
Bar, where, you know, Mark, who she tried to say that was our fucking son. I was like, no, that's not your fucking Mark Malone ain't your son.
It's obsessive, isn't it, to lie like that?
Duke's, our son came on live, right, and she was like telling her that, you know, you can't be going calling her, you know, a far right extremist. Yes, I can. She's a fucking, listen, I'm sure her family knows she's batshit crazy, and they just leave her there, right? Leave her. But like, yeah, you do hear her like talking ever so quietly, like, yeah, because your poor fucking son has to come down and tell you to shut the fuck up. And what did you say on WhatsApp after you called me out, which was hilarious? Like, it was comical. You're sitting up there, oh, wow, with that creepy come to me voice, like, you make me vomit
Yeah.
me mouth, bitch. Go eat me. Get Kimberly Ann, Melanie on. And then what? You sat there telling me, go on, where? Go on, where? What, are we going to do this, make a show with the Irish? Ah, no, go on. Go on, have a cup of tea. No, go on. You fucking head case. And then, like, our son came down and told her to get off. Our son told her to get off. And then said to me in the chat, no, you have no life. You have no family. Okay, love, right. Because it's 11 o'clock on a Friday. All righty. Yeah, no, my family were watching and told me to jump on. They didn't, Howell. They didn't tell you, because I know my family wouldn't tell me to jump on.
No.
So I don't think your family would either, when they say, jump on there, ma. Jump on there right now, ma. To them, get on there, ma. Fucking on there now. And then literally get bish, bash, boshed by both of them. And then wouldn't you be like, yeah, nice one, son. I wouldn't have fucking went on there only for fucking you. So it's like,
Yeah.
no, my daughters would just go, you know what, man? Time for you to go, boop, turn the fucking thing off. Get off it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? So, yeah, it seems to be a little bit backwards in her case. And, yeah, you know, it's just quite weird. But, like, again, I'm a far-right whitest pro-vote IRA head, yeah? And it's like, oh, and Brian had to tell her, no, a pro-vote is also unionist. Yeah, she'd be a nationalist. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. But that's how thick she is. So, again, like, if she wasn't so, like, possessive and, you know, overbearingly cantankerous and trying to, like, control everybody, I would probably have a conversation with her, right? But, like, she's a weirdo. Again, you will never be me, love. There is only one of me. So, piss off and get your own life. Go do you, love, because you're not me. Right?
Well, yeah,
and I don't fancy you. I'm not fucking gay. And even if I was, I still wouldn't touch you with a barge pole, love. All right? Is that okay?
Yeah. Oh, God.
So, yeah. So, I think it'd be a good one, Wendy. I think it'd be a good one. But I think that, like, yeah, like, people from, especially in the chat too, like, yeah, because there's going to be, understand right now, and I'm going to give a heads up, because if I didn't come on the panel to talk to Wendy myself and I was a little bottler in the chat, I'd probably do it myself, right? So, because I'd get it triggered too, right? So,
Right.
yeah, I'm just giving a head up to the mods that, like, some probably will come in under, you know, different aliases.
Oh.
We've lost connection, Cam. Maybe she's got a phone call, something.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
because it's going to be both
she's back.
sides are going to be finding out a little bit shit that they're not going to like. Let's put it that way. But it has to be out, because it's like, this shit has gone on long enough, right? This shit's gone long enough that, like, yeah, like, I get classed as a terrorist. And And I love my country. I love my country and I love my people, except you, Izzy. I fucking hate you. You're the only cunt I do hate. I love my country, right? And yeah, like as I said, I do see a United Ireland coming, but unfortunately at a very, 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 very high price. Yeah, you know what I mean? And again, you know, Ireland and England, I mean, I really do think that, like, yes, hopefully, please God, we get out of EU and that fucking thing implodes. And we can then, like, go with the British and Irish Isles, you know what I mean? Like the way we were before the EU came along. So, you know, there's a lot there. There's a lot there. Not just fucking the Bloody Sunday, but there's a lot there. So, and I don't think a lot of people know. But the Bloody Sunday, we'll concentrate on that one. And just get that one over in some way. And I think it'll give people on both sides a little bit more of an insight and for people
and
to
understanding.
That's the main thing. Too. Yeah, because look, when again, as I said, like if I didn't jump on the panel and try to talk to you, I'd probably be a little bit triggly puffed like Tartas in the chat, right? And like, oh, what about this? What about that? You know, and yeah, like just saying it from my point of view, but I can put myself in other people's shoes, which this tramp seems that you can't. So yeah, if you put yourself in their shoes, you know, like, and we put ourselves in your shoes, yeah, then we can see why you're saying shit. You might do saying shit, but if you're only going to stay from your point of view, then it's just a biased point of view, and we're not going to get anywhere. So that's why,
that's
like,
pointless.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what I mean. So like,
the thing is, you know, if she's spent so much time ridiculing you and ridiculing Wendy, along with lots of other people, but you people in particular, because you two are going to be doing it, why would she want to be in a conversation with you two? You know,
she knows everything.
It would be a conversation, Dukes. It would be,
it'd be a screaming match, wouldn't it? Really? Yeah.
It would be to tell us how like fucking wrong we are, and like how, you know, like we're conspiring to like distort the truth of what really happened. And it's like, what? No, that's you,
No,
that's you fruitcake. So Dukes, again, I really tried to understand this, and I'm going to be nice and say woman. I really tried to understand this woman, and I put myself in her shoes, and it's just too crazy being in them shoes. No wonder she has to be drunk. It's fucking crazy. It's fucking crazy, and it's like, oh, what? Oh, okay, yeah, I'm moving on away from you. I just don't want to associate with you. You're a low-vibe bitch. Go wait me. So again, like when I told Wendy was like, would you fuck off? Like, what fucking barrel? I'm like, no, Wendy, you don't fucking understand this crazy bitch, man. And it was like, again,
you tried to tell me for weeks.
Yeah, and it was like, Wendy was like, oh, whatever, I was like, Wendy, you're not fucking listening. You have this cunt on me fucking ass. What the fuck are you doing? And yeah, and since then she just has not let go. She has not let go. Our content is us. And that's why I do be like, Duke, please strike the bitch. Please strike her, because in a heartbeat she'd strike you, and she has no content. She cannot, Duke, I'm sorry, but like, look, the thing is, if you're going to talk to a troll account of me, which is you, so let's get it right. That's you talking to you in like a third party, which is me, and then you're trying to flirt with that troll, which is me, which is you. It's like, what? You're fucking crazy. You're fucking and this at 3 o'clock in the morning, Duke. And it's like, what? Wow. Yeah. Crazy. The lift doesn't go all the way up, Duke, you know, it stops midway. So yeah, you think that, oh, you're actually an intelligent woman. Actually, for an intelligent woman, you're quite fucking thick. So, you know.
Yeah, Cam, the other day on her stream, she decided she'd play Irish rebel songs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was laughing because all I could think about was that hangout I was in with you and Shell when I was playing Irish rebel songs myself and saying how I like them.
I know, I was quite surprised myself. I was quite surprised. I was like, oh, wow, look, fucking Wendy. Oh, you do know? Oh, right, Wendy. Because I was like, oh, shit, here we go. Wendy's not fucking like this song.
I it was inciting stuff the way that stream went that day.
Oh yeah, but she was only doing it because she knew I was hanging around, right, listening, and she must have thought she was annoying me. Yeah, but it wasn't. I was singing along with it because it's like the tunes, the Irish tunes, are really good.
No,
I like them.
I like the melodies as well.
Yeah.
When I started in Ballymurphy 71, when the same regiment ran amok for several days that year in Derry. The same soldiers involved in mass murder and both massacres. Listen, you see the thing, Joe, look, as I said, right now, this is a stock account of another stock account. So, again, Joe, things will be brought out, right? As I said, it's going to be a little bit like sketchy at times. They're like, oh, shit. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
But again, things will be addressed on both sides. That again has to be dealt with. So again, it takes two to tango. It takes two to fuck. It takes one to drive most times. But hey, it takes two. So yeah, that shit will be dealt with because Bloody Sunday didn't just happen for one Sunday. It happened. Yes, you're right. Yes, you're right. Right, it did.
Oh, I know all about Ballymurphy, Joe.
You know?
Don't worry about Ballymurphy. That will be dealt with.
So that's like
it's
when
not,
you see honesty.
Yeah, and it's not as clear cut as Joe thinks.
Exactly. So it's like, okay,
yeah.
It will be addressed. And as I said, like, yeah, I get that, Joe. And it's not, look, I'm feeling a little bit uncomfortable now because why? Because a lot of my friends are British and English, right? And it's like,
don't feel uncomfortable at all, Pam, because I'm not coming from a biased position at all. I just want...
Look at you, little scumbag. Is this combo about Bloody Sunday or Bleeding Heart? He thought you are a scumbag. You're a scumbag in Patrick's ex. Yeah, please one of the mods.
Yeah, no, I'm done it.
Yeah.
Bye.
You see, there you go. There you go. It's like, is it about Bleeding? No, Bleeding Tramp makes it about her. Look at her channel. Everything is about fucking me, Wendy, or Juice. So piss off, fatty fish. You little emo. You do know he's nearsighted, right? The little specky, fat little bastard, right? I'm not messing, Wendy. He's nearsighted. He wears glasses.
Oh, right.
Okay. Yeah, bottle-end glasses, that fat little fucker. And yeah, and like, listen, emo boy. You know what an emo is? Look up what a fucking emo is. Look up what an emo boy is, right? And that's batty fish. That's why he's never with a gal. That's why he's a virgin anyway. But yeah, again, he wears. I'm not messing. He wears glasses when he's nearsighted. So again, I don't know fucking any MMA specialist that does that shit, right? So again, yeah, like, but you see, that's to derail the whole shit.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen because I just block them immediately. I can't be dealing with them.
So that's the only thing that I'd want. Them is gone because, like, fuck off. That's all you have. Like, you know, and Uber analysis, you cunt, you little racist piece of shit.
No, you better not even try to come on here. Yeah.
When you prove where I have pictures of kids, bring them. Any kids on my phone or devices, bring them. Now you and Luca are. Oh no, bitch! You can't sing for one, and you sit here and you let the little cook, fatty fish, who said he had bullets for your son, on your panel, in my fucking picture, in my name, and yet you say, "Hey, didn't it? Fuck out of here, bitch! Fuck out of here!" When I said to you, come defend yourself on duty, you didn't fucking show up. So go fuck yourself. Fuck you and your little French crew. Bunch of weirdo cunts. Online 10 plus years, all of them are, Wendy. Online 10 plus years.
Me where I see an old stream of yours pop up in my algorithm today. It's quite interesting. It was all to do with just after Chantel's daughter was racist. And Fluffy
of whose?
Yeah, so you were playing this bit of the stream and you was talking about it, and it was all to do with Brian Harvey, and it was really interesting because who should pop up but Turek? And some of what he was saying was very I was like, You know, sometimes when you miss things, when you're sitting in, well, I wasn't on the stream anyway. It must have been one of the times when I'd gone off over to Vellies and not going on there so often.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I never knew you was that sneaky, you little git. Yeah.
Yeah, Turok gets around. Turok gets around.
Turok is
Turok,
two-faced. Yeah. I mean,
You
is
know?
Emily Luca a DJ of some sort? Because Jesus
No.
Christ, all she
Stop,
does
no.
is play stupid music.
Oh, just a quick one, you know?
A quick one, 9 hours later, she's still playing stupid music.
Oh, so, you know, again, I'm not interested in them, and they just keep drag me back in, and it's like, hold on a minute. What about all the shit that you've done? What about all the shit that you've done? You caught me a weekend. What about you? What about your wife's little mini fridge, Urbano? I don't remember that. No, like with everything in it. Because I did take that. I did take a screenshot of that. Flick boy, pretty boy. I did do that.
Who are you talking about now?
So again, don't go around acting like Mr. fucking squeaky clean and picking up for bitches that have a big enough fucking mouth to go around and pick up for them fucking selves. Well, when I say bitches, I'll call it a bitch. I'll call it a bitch because it acts like a bitch. And you said, yeah, but you do too, Cam. Well, I am a bitch. I am actual biologically a female. You on the other hand, mate, or just a beta male. You can't seem to keep my name out of your mouth. None of you can. You're that quite weird. That's why you're that a weird, strange crew. And Brian, you rock up to Blanchardstown anytime you like. Come into Lucan Forest. I'll meet you in Lucan Forest. All right? Not a problem. You fat piece of shit. And I'll help you write your book, right? That you and Bleeding Tramp were meant to write. How about that, Brian? You fat piece of shit. I wouldn't step on you to get up over a wall. And I want you. Not even Blanca wants you. Blanca is banging everybody, man. Why? Because that lay champion Dick has done nothing for her in a long, long time. Has the boy? No. And who was that broad that you paid to be in your video, Bri? Quite interested. Who was that woman that you paid to be in your video?
The blonde.
Yeah, she didn't seem to know
That's
him.
that Tammy Dior, isn't it?
There you go. And what's his name? His drug dealer.
The drug dealer. Yeah.
So it's like, oh, but you're gonna have 10 gangsters coming at your door, ain't you? That's why you're not in blankets, isn't it? So again, you know, you are all, you really, I swear, you couldn't have picked a better fucking name because you are all as mad as a box of frogs, literally gay frogs at that. Weirdos, you know. And again, I told you, Bri, you will get butt raped for real this time by fucking cum stained fingers Tom, who rubbed these cum stained fingers through your hair, didn't he? You know, so yeah. And Bleeding, he's married. Like, I mean, well, was married. That wasn't married, but like, I mean, I wouldn't go for any piece of shit man like that tried to take any money off me. If you took €2 fucking off me, never mind $2,000, you mad thing.
$2,000, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you can give mad thing. Fucking mad thing. You can chase that fucking fat thing around all you want. You're not going to get nothing back. What do you say? The cost.
Oh,
so,
Christ,
yeah, whatever. You know, so yeah, you know what I mean? It'll be a good one. I think it'll be a good one. Yeah, just keep the little sad degenerates away. And yeah, Wendy, if you strike that fucking wombat fanny dried up L through it, and I do apologise for the language, but she brings out the worst in me.
Well, I'll say now, anyone who shares my content on this, apart from Jupiter, I will strike. As simple as that. Because it's not a funny subject, and it's not a subject that I want to be. Well, I don't want it to be maligned in any way whatsoever. So if you're out there listening, people, yeah, you content stealers, you play my content, I will strike you.
They're content creators. They're content creators.
I did want to say this though. You know, going forward, you should get all what you feel about them out tonight, because going forward, don't even bother talking about them. Because
no, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Yeah, Duke, right? Because you're right, right? Because like I mean, she does bring out the worst in me, right? And she just seems to amp it up, right? It's like she thrives on me getting angry, or and look, you paid me kind of semi-angry, right?
No,
Nobody has ever paid me angry, right?
Same.
You know, so it's like no, you're correct, you're correct there. You know what I mean? And it's like fuck it, you know what I mean? Because again, she will never, and if you ever, anyway, yeah, it won't happen, right? And batty fish and all that, whatever, because it's online. It's online, and by the grace of God, I just have a very good life that I am very grateful for, because I could be like you, barren fuck, bitter, nasty, and bad, and I don't like being angry. I don't like being angry and being like that. And yeah, I now as I'm getting older, I like to, have a nice conversation, see if I can talk it out, you know what I mean, first, before having to go straight to bit slapping, So it's like, I can't do that. All right. So again, you're correct, Jupiter. And it's her. It's not. Listen, listen. Batty Fish he's so fucking last year, right? That I don't give a shit. You're afraid to show me your fucking hand. How can I? Why am I so upset and bothered? And fuck off, right? It's like Brian. He's just an online clown. He's just an online clown that's gonna get like double tapped in the fucking head for the bullshit he's been doing, right? And
he's got real gangsters after him, so
So it's like that's what I'm saying, and it's like, oh shit, you're gonna be dump in the head, double tap for you, mate. Now you've been warned, and you're treading. You want to be very careful. Be very careful. But again, like, yeah, you're right, Duke. You're right, and because tomorrow I won't be, and the people that I was talking about, Duke, that would have been like people that are on both sides, like that I know, like from different chats and shit like that, because yeah, they're gonna get a little bit triggly puffed. Why? Because they've never heard it before. You know what I mean? And you're only defending your country. You know what I mean? You're defending your nationality, and yeah, that's only normal. You know what I mean? Like so. No, that didn't fucking. Well, it did actually happen.
Well, actually,
it
did happen. Yeah,
and that's what I mean. And that will go for both sides, and they're not gonna like it. You know what I mean?
Be able to walk it together and ask questions. Because there's bound to be things that you're going to learn from Wendy, and Wendy's going to learn from you. That's what I'm
of course, yeah.
Yeah, but you see, that's the only way, Duke. That's the only way, because again, Wendy has her point of view, right? Like of what happened from her view. Like so, yeah, and then I have mine. You know what I mean? Like so, yeah. It's an exchange of what happened. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
And
I'm looking at it from
you can still. There's still going to be points that you'll probably disagree on, but you can still disagree.
Of course.
And still remain friends.
Listen, it would be
one of the brilliant things about Wendy. It's one of her most creditable personality traits is that she can have a difference of opinion and still remain friends with people.
Oh, listen, God, yeah.
It would be a respectfully, right? It would be a respectful disagreement. You know what I mean? Because I'm a grown-ass woman. I don't need to scream and roar to say, listen, like, this is how I feel on that fucking issue. That's how you feel on that issue. It's like an asshole. We both have one. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, move on. We move on. Or we can stay at this point and argue at this point.
Exactly.
So, no, we'll give each other a point of view on. It's like, right.
Don't you think it's amazing, though, how far all three of us have progressed, how how we can do that. I just think that it's amazing that we've got to this situation here, and yet so many other people can't get to that situation.
Yeah, because you have to want to. You have to want to, Duke. You have to want to.
Yeah.
It can't just happen on its own, because if you're refusing to, well, then it can't happen. So you may have a little bit of resistance, or a lot at the start, right? Because obviously a lot of shit went on. But then when you say, actually, you know what? Yeah, we have a difference. Like, you're not a bad bitch. you're a good bitch, and that's in a good way, right? Like it's not like you're a bitch tramp. No, you're a good one. So I was like, actually, all right. I may not agree with that, but like everything other than that, like yeah, sound right. We can level on most things. But and look, nobody agrees on everything, dude. Nobody. And if you don't, it's bullshit, right? That's your personal bias, confirmation bias, all that yada yada coming into it. You know what I mean? Because again, like me and Charlotte are good friends, we don't agree on everything. It's as simple as that. You don't. You know what I mean? You may agree on 90% of things, but you just don't agree on 100% of things unless you're both coming from confirmation bias, that biased way of viewing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or you're coming from trauma based, right? Where you trauma bond with each other. So something really bad happened to the three of us. We were properly trolled by them. So we didn't like each other because we didn't know each other. So then, the trauma brings you together, and then it's like, oh, actually, you're not actually bad. Jeez, I didn't think that. Like when I found out Wendy was playing Call of Duty, I was like, wow, what one? Wendy fucking for you. I was totally surprised. I was like, wow. And when I left, I was like, I said I have a little bit more respect for Wendy. I said I didn't fucking realize she did all that shit. So why? Because your perception of somebody from when you're angry or when you're like, it's a different perception when you actually start to talk to them. You know what I mean? So you have to want to do, and they don't want it. They don't want it. That's the difference. They don't want it, right? And if people don't want to do, you leave them. You leave them. Don't waste time. You say, I tried, and you move on. You move on because they're going to stay there. They're going to stay there, stay angry, and same point of view. There's no point. You're never going to win that shit. Move on. So me and Wendy, and that's what I said. Like I'm a little bit like, because it has to be said. You know what I mean? Because and I'm not gonna like saying things that's gonna be said either. But it is what it is. You know what I mean? It's facts over feelings. Facts do not.
Well, it's facts, and
so that's it. Like facts don't care about feelings. At the end of the day, your feelings mean nothing. Your feelings mean nothing. Yeah, and that goes on my own, right? Like my feelings mean nothing at the end of the day to the fact. Absolutely nothing. So
exactly. Truth over
exactly. So it's like, there's no point trying to argue with that shit. Because again, once you prove to me, it's like,
but we've all done it. And we all still do it.
We have. Look, we tried. Look, we'll try. But once you try
but for me, it's got to the stage where we just don't. I think we're all doing it in our own way. Probably Wendy's doing it the most eloquently, but we just don't have to tolerate people that don't want to tolerate us. And I think that's something that I've come to it, because I am quite a tolerant person, but I just think, look, if you don't want to tolerate me, then why would I want to tolerate you? That's sort of like where I'm at now.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean, look, the thing is, Duke, that you can't like everybody, right? You can't, look, you can please some of the people, like some of the time, you can't please all the people all the time. So you cannot get on with everybody. You cannot like everybody.
It's an impossibility.
Exactly.
It's like, then you're a people pleaser, and I'm sorry, nobody has respect for a fucking people pleaser. Why? Because you people please everybody. You like everybody. Like, I've no problem with you because you've done nothing to me. I like you, and I like you, and I like you, and I like you. But like, they're a dirtbag. But I like you too. Like, okay, nobody likes that too. So you can't be friends with everybody.
Chantal was one of them, wasn't she?
Yeah. And look what happened to Chantal.
Oh, Chantal, how many times I would have fucking strangled that girl?
There you go, Duke. That's what I'm saying, right? And
defend her because getting bullied, and then she'd apologise while they were bullying you.
you see, that's like kind of indicative of the other, strangers. It's like you act the aggressor, and then as soon as people strike back, you become the victim. It's like, wow, just wow. So again, you're right. It's best not to even deal with them, not even talking, which I don't, right? Because she caught me out. She got me that one time because again, like I've been waiting to be on a panel with you for over a fucking year because you got me blocked off Big Bri. and everywhere else that you wouldn't jump on with me, you bottless piece of shit. So yeah, and I didn't lose my shit that night. I just asked her, what does your stalker ass want? Will you leave me alone? Because I don't like you. I'm not gay. And if I was, I wouldn't touch you. I don't know what my type would be, but I just know it wouldn't be you. No, fuck off, right? Fuck off. Just leave me alone. And that's it. And I haven't entered in. She comes where I am. I was in Wendy's chat, like as I said, I was in bed, right? And yeah, in she pops. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, man, go away. Just go away. And there's not many places I go, but you're there everywhere. Like a bad smell.
Yeah, not for long.
Just
She
go
wasn't.
away. Yeah, and that's like nice one, gone, just fucking gone. So, but she has the balls. Like, it's like, how do you think that's okay? To sit there and
Yeah.
talk about women and then come over to that chat? It's like, what? What do you want? You need some, because I don't understand your mindset at all. That you sit there and it's only a parody on you. It's only a bit of laugh. But as soon as I say about your big double chin that it needs 2 postcodes, you should be paying twice the postcode area for that shit. You go making fucking video. It's like your ego is very fragile, very, very fragile, right? And I'm glad and I'm blessed that I isn't as fragile and weak as yourself, woman. So again, you give us a bad reputation, but like, hey, it is what it is, you know. Yeah, it's just like weird, but like, I mean, as I said, you know, I don't juice. Only when she comes to me, you know what I mean? It's like, I won't go to you, bitch, but if you come to me, yeah, I will give it a slap. I will. Don't fucking think I won't. I fucking will. You know what I mean?
think
So it's
everybody
like,
knows that anyway, though, Cam. I don't think people. I certainly don't see you as a weak woman. I think
you
people
know,
know.
No.
I think
No,
that
not
was
at all.
months ago, to be fair, and I don't know why they try to fight against it, because yeah, that's not a perception that's going to change in my mind.
Okay then, ladies, I'm going to end this now because it's bedtime.
Nice one, Wendy. Nice one, Wendy.
And I'll
what
be
time will it
going
be on
live
Friday?
tomorrow at 8 p.m. Fucking
8
a.m.
a.m.
Yeah,
All
right.
8 p.m.
8
Right.
p.m.
8 p.m. Grand. All right, Wendy, I'll be fashionably Irish late, as usual, because I always try to come on time, but it never does happen. So, yeah, like about 5 past, I'll arrive. Yeah, and it'll be good. It'll be a good one.
Yeah, well.
Get it out there, you know what I mean? And yeah, nice one. I appreciate it, Wendy. Night,
That's
God
all right,
bless
love.
you, Wendy.
All right.
And I'll
Night,
talk to you tomorrow.
everybody.
Look forward to it. Night, God bless.
Night, love. Yeah, so don't be late, Jupiter. It's not like I'm ever late when you do a stream. Oh God. Yeah, so nice to see you all here, guys. So good night and well, good morning. And don't forget 8 p.m. For the second installment, and then a discussion after or during, maybe even during, I should think. All welcome, and anyone that wants to come onto the panel that's going to be willing to discuss and not argue, very welcome. That's anyone at all. I don't mind. But it's really nice to see that Leo and Victoria and Rubber and Lady Jane and Pauline, all of you guys, yeah, and the others. So good night and God bless, and see you tomorrow night.